I'm at a time in my life when a lot of my cousins and a lot of my friends are having kids and either having their first kid or second or third kid. And as their families continue to grow and as I get to be a part of their lives as they welcome new life into the world and just be a spiritual father to them, it's very easy and very beautiful to see just the deep love that parents have for a newborn child, right? Even if it's not for those without kids, like the deep love of aunts and uncles, godfathers, godmothers, right? To have the special type of love that, parents, godparents, and moms and dads have for their little kids, right? There's such a tenderness, such a deep affection, such a love that is there that I think you don't really see anywhere else. There's something special about the relationship that we have with these newborn children. And that special love, that deep connection that gets formed so quickly makes the reality of what we celebrate today on this feast of the presentation of the Lord a little bit difficult, a little bit hard to try to live out. A little Jewish background on what is being celebrated today. This is the day when Mary and Joseph went to bring Jesus, their firstborn child, to the temple to be offered to the Lord. It was part of the command of the law that this child is really not God's, is not yours, but is God's, right? And so the firstborn child had to be quote unquote redeemed, had to be, in a sense, bought back from the Lord because there was this belief that the firstborn child is consecrated to God. He is the firstborn child is his, and it is like a special connection that the firstborn has with the Lord. So Mary and Joseph, who had experienced this miraculous birth of their son, are coming now to the temple to recognize the reality that this son of theirs is not really theirs, but this son is primarily the Lord's. And this offering of the firstborn child to God in the temple is a reminder of who the real one in charge is. Like mom and dad, as much as we try to be, are not actually in charge. They're not the ones with the real power, but it is the Lord who sets the course of every aspect of their life. It is God who is the one who holds all the power, all the control, and all the vision, all the authority. And the presentation, parents would experience a deep reminder. And that reminder was not meant to be something almost like to be afraid of or to be like condescending, like you get back, I'm the one who's in charge. That reminder was meant to be very consoling. To know that you don't have to carry the vision of your life on your shoulders. It's not up to you to make sure everything goes well, but I've got this, God. God is telling them, I'm the one who's in charge. I've got this. You don't have anything to worry about. Just trust in me. I have them, I have you, and there's never a reason to be afraid. Yet so often in our life, whether we're parents or not, we struggle with that reality. We want to be the one who's in charge. We grasp for control. And especially when we see things going quote unquote wrong, when things are going the way that we don't want them to, or we don't think they should, we don't see God doing anything, or we don't see God acting in the way that we would want him to act. That's usually where the temptation to grasp for control jumps in, because I believe the lie, well, God's not doing anything. He must not be in charge. He must not care. So now I have to jump in and show power, show control, show authority. I have to make things happen my way. And in the face of that temptation that I think we struggle with, I know I struggle with almost every day, in the gospel for our Mass today, we get two beautiful examples of people who almost show us what to do in the face of that temptation. First, we have this Simeon. He was a devout priest of the temple, and the Lord had promised him at some point in his life that he would not die until he saw the Messiah. That was a promise that God made to him. And Simeon, in a very beautiful way, held fast to that promise because God made him that promise probably a long time ago. And then Simeon just had to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait until almost the very end of his life, till that promise was finally fulfilled. I'm sure there are many days when Simeon struggled with believing, is God ever going to fulfill this promise? Can I continue to trust? Can I continue to believe that this is possible? Why do I keep holding the hope open just for me to be disappointed again and again? Or to believe maybe today will be the day. Maybe today will be the day, right? Simeon, in a beautiful way, shows us how to be faithful in the waiting, to believe that even though I don't see God operating, to know that he will bring his promise to fulfillment. We may not know how, we may not know when, we may not know where, and it probably isn't in the way, in the timing that we would want him to do it. But Simeon shows us an incredible faithfulness. He did not give up hope, and he kept his heart open and sensitive. He kept hope alive in his heart. And I think it is that hope alive in his heart that kept him able to recognize, that allowed him to be able to recognize, when he saw Jesus, this is the one. If Simeon had closed his heart up, I don't think he would have been docile to be able to recognize God in his life. But because he kept hope alive, because he kept his heart sensitive and open to the workings of the Lord, he was able to recognize this is the one. Finally, after so many years of waiting, God came through. Simeon never closed his heart to hope. Simeon always believed that God would fulfill the promise. In long seasons of waiting, he kept that heart open. And it is a beautiful example for us to follow when we don't see God acting in our life, right? To know that every promise that God makes will be fulfilled. He is the eternally faithful Father. Our Lady Mary shows us in a beautiful way how to continue to be faithful, not in the midst of waiting, but in the midst of trial, right? Mary heard a lot of difficult words in this gospel today, right? The hardest words that a mother could possibly hear. Your son will be a sign of contradiction. He will suffer, he will struggle, and a sword will pierce your own heart. And I imagine Mary, as she heard those words, I imagine almost like the echo of the words that she gave at the Annunciation. Let it be done according to your will. God, I trust you. God, I know that you're going to take care of everything. No matter how hard things get, no matter how dark and painful things get, I know that you will come through. I know that he, my son, is yours. I know that I am yours. And I know that you will take care of us both faithfully. And so, God, let it be done. To face and to approach the trials of our life with that kind of disposition, that kind of trust, that kind of posture, to say, Lord, this is hard, but I trust you. And if this is what you want to happen, then let it be done, because I know that you will glorify your name through it. I know that you will bring redemption here, and I know that you will bring hope. I know that you will triumph over even what is difficult. And so whether it's through waiting or whether it's through trials and suffering, both Simeon and Mary show us that God is faithful, that God is always in charge, that nothing catches him by surprise, and that in the end, he will come through. So may the Lord deepen our own faith and our own trust in that reality, that our life is not our own, but our life is his, and that no matter what we see or feel or experience in the moment, our life is safe in his hands.